That look.
No, I was very confused. I thought that there were hallucinogens in here from, because that's the first thing he asked me. He's like, have you ever taken hallucinogens?
Said it wasn't in there.
Then after that,
trusted you.
So
after that, we'd had those conversations about like this. These are the sticking points, right? And please, like, we got to figure out a better way to do this because it stifles the movement. After that, it was, yeah, we're not going to be able to come to any kind of terms. And that was for sure after that conversation. I made one final plea. Final plea, and that called like, just take me off the table. Promise me you won't do it to other people. And the question is, look, was your understanding when you invest money, when you subscribe, was your understanding that all conservative talent out there, nearly all, are penalized if they're demonetized? Was that your understanding? Was that your understanding that then they are penalized if they are suspended? Then they are penalized if they don't take as many lives? Was that your understanding when you were investing in people going out there and fighting for you? Because I know the feedback that I get at these live shows with thousands of people at every event. And it's not a hard-earned dollar that I take lightly. People feel powerless. They say there's only so much I can do. At least that guy can go out and fight for me. And I'd like it to be these guys and girls, not a guy.
And for context too, it's very important. These fees pertain to strikes and bannings on the major big tech platforms, irrespective of your viewership on the alternatives we're all trying to help.
Or subscribership.
Or subscribers or sponsors.
So this is an important point to me. Because I dug into this. For those who don't know, Steven Crowder and Daily Wire are going at it. And it's big news because these are two conservative giants on the internet, that ideologically have the exact same views. So why the hell are they feuding? What happened was Steven Crowder, just a quick summary, Steven Crowder became a free agent in the market. He left a company called The Blaze, and this was back like October of last year. Daily Wire is the largest conservative media group in America, and so they caught wind of this and they thought to themselves, we'd literally be bad businessmen if we didn't at least make him an offer. So they put together an offer, and it was a pre-contract. Sent it to him, and it was for $50 million. And so all this happened behind the scenes. So Steven Crowder comes out with a video a couple of days ago, and he's holding up this contract that we can't see. And he's like, don't sign these contracts. They're bad. And he's going over this. And it led people to speculate, who the hell is he talking about? Like, what contract is he talking about? So the internet did its thing, and Jeremy Boring, one of the CEOs of Daily Wire, came out and made a video because they were getting so many questions about whether Steven Crowder was referring to them or not. So they basically outed themselves, but it seemed, to my eye, a smart move because people were making the general assumption that he was referring to them, even though he didn't particularly name them by name. So Jeremy Boring made an hour-long video going step by step through the contract. And after I watched that video, I thought, damn, I agree with Daily Wire. I mean, it's plain as day, business. He's like, look, if I'm paying you or anyone, that amount of money, let's say it's 10 million and not 50 million. I'm paying you $10 million, right? That's my initial investment into you. My company has to recoup that somehow. How are we going to recoup that? We're going to recoup it through ad revenue of your different outlets that you use. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Rumble, all these different outlets. We're going to recoup that through ad revenue. And so in the contract, it said, if you get banned from any of these outlets, well, then we're taking that out of the 10 million, 50 million that we're paying you. Like we're getting screwed if you get banned. So why should we be the only one that gets affected? You're the one that spoke the words that got you banned. We're not going to just keep paying you what we were going to pay you before because our terms have changed. When we signed you to this $50 million contract, we were counting on 20% ad revenue from Spotify. We were counting on 10% from, iTunes. We were counting on these different outlets and you went and got yourself banned. So this is just simple business 101. We're taking that out of the 10 million, 50 million that we're paying. I keep saying 10 million just as like another example, but the term sheet they sent him said 50 million, and then they alluded to him countering and wanting over 100 million. So my personal view after watching Jeremy Boring's hour-long video was that they're right. They're correct.
Right.
And it's demonetization.
Now
too.
watch
That's
now
the
here-
exciting one.
here's an
And I'm
important.
an hour into this. Now I see Steven Crowder's point. Because at first I was like, Steven Crowder's being stupid. Like, this is business 101. Steven Crowder's point is this. He's saying the problem isn't what I just outlaid. Right? I think he gets that. That's typical business. What he's saying the problem is that the Daily Wire, this conservative media outlet, which is their entire claim to fame is being woke, anti-left, has written in their contracts for their employees policies that enable left-wing ideology. So Steven Crowder is saying, what the hell? We're supposed to be fighting this, and you're enabling it by having it in your contract. If that makes sense. Like, that's his point. His point, I still think he's sort of failing to see that, honestly, there's like nothing else the Daily Wire could do. And they just have to operate within the bounds of things that exist. YouTube, which, leans to the left, just happens to be the largest video platform in the world. And so I think Daily Wire's argument is like, look, we didn't make the rules. We didn't make these platforms. We're just saying, look, if you get banned, we're going to pay you a little bit less. And he's already demonetized on YouTube. And Jeremy said that going into this, they were aware of that, and they're still offering him 50 million. So I think they're both right. My opinion is that they both have a point. Daily Wire's point is, look, dude, we just sent you a contract. Like, you could have redlined any points that you didn't like. You could have countered. Obviously we were, kind of lowballing you a little bit, and that's what any negotiation is like. And Steven Crowder's argument, which I just already covered, is forget the money. You're basically saying that I have to curb my ideology so as to take it so that I get the full fee that you're offering me. I have to curb my ideology, and the irony there is that this is this company that I'll be signing to claims to fight against that. So it's like he's saying that they're hypocrites, basically. That on one hand, to their audience members, they claim to be fighting the left, but behind the scenes, and they're even writing it into their contracts, that you have to say what the left wants you to say while you're using left-wing platforms. It's like, to give a specific example for anybody that might be listening right now, totally confused. Back in 2020, 2021, saying, masks don't work, or saying that you think the 2020 election was rigged. I know for a fact YouTube was, deplatforming and banning people that were saying that. Crowder's point is that he feels like he should be able to say whatever the hell he wants to say, and that the Daily Wire, this huge company, conservative company, is paying people to not say what they actually think. And so in that regard, Steven does have a point. But the Daily Wire also has a point. It's like, dude, look, we're just operating within the bounds of what we can. and they're navigating the water. So, I mean, you could both compliment the Daily Wire and knock them. You could compliment them and say they've probably masterfully navigated the platform waters without, I don't think they have any strikes and they haven't gotten banned on anything. So they've navigated that amazingly well. But at the same token, you could criticize them and say they haven't been, I think Steven's like calling them sellouts, basically, is they're selling out for the money versus what they think, at least to some degree, right? He's not saying like they've gone crazy. He's just like, there's this little interesting nugget that y'all should be aware of. And
important picture that should be painted. A lot of people are saying, Crowder, you recorded Jeremy. That's not what friends do. They're surprised by it. But here's what I'm seeing now. And, putting myself in the middle of this.
You're always in the middle of it,
Of course, that's what I do, right? But look, you go to the Daily
Dr.
Wire.
Phil, no, your term sheet. Okay.
You go to the Daily Wire. They say, here's a term sheet. You go, whoa, this is crazy.
Right.
Hey, you can't do this. The Daily Wire then says, all of a sudden, not also, but a few months later, Crowder registers Stop Big Con. Then he calls and secretly records Jeremy. He was setting us up. This email right here paints a different picture in that you talked with the Daily Wire and said, here's our issue.
Yeah.
Here's what we can't do. And they said, okay. And then sometime later, they try poaching.
No, they said, if that's the issue, this is our business model, and you
Right.
don't know business.
But then they try and poach one of your employees.
And you don't
one
know
of your,
business.
And that could be an accident, but it's not the first time.
Yeah.
Well, but you said you didn't. You mentioned him by name, and
Gary, yeah.
employee poaching is considered vulture-ish as it is.
that's another interesting thing was apparently he brought proof that they tried to poach one of his employees. He brought the email proof. They tried to do it through email. Who the hell tries to poach an employee through email? It's kind of funny.
But it is business.
And by the way, there's a huge difference between employees reaching out to you in a company
Right.
and you fielding
you're
it,
available.
which is
Right.
which happens, versus going to someone who is clearly not available, who was mentioned
Exactly.
by name, saying this
so-
guy is awesome. And Gary's hilarious because he's Russian. He was born and raised in Russia until he was 13, but he seems totally American, no accent. But then occasionally you realize like he'll say something out of context, like I can kill two birds and get stoned or something.
That's me. But I'm Polish.
Mixed metaphors.
So were you raised in Poland?
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. No one would guess.
They
But
call
then
it Lucas.
So those first few years, did you have those disconnects where people are like, "Are you not?" And you're like, "I don't understand whatever." the
First
stats
few
are."
years, he still does it.
I still
Does he
do it
still
all the
do it?
time. Yeah, all the time. It's just,
but look,
man.
look. This is the point I'm trying to make. The picture painted so far was that you all of a sudden set up this plan to get the Daily Wire, and they were blindsided by it. But it actually seems like now there was a bit of a back and forth in that you said, "Hey guys, I don't like this." Then they say, "Well, that's a business." Then they try to poach one of your employees. Then you're like, "Okay, this is." It sounds like
It's been going on for years.
But-
and everyone in
but-
the space knows it. Everyone in the space knows it.
this is not an issue of they had a polite conversation with you, said, "We're sorry, we disagree," and then you devised a plan to come after him. There was
No.
then the Daily
Well, and that-
Wire comes and tries to poach an employee. Then you guys are like, these kind of business practices can't continue. or something
No,
like
and it was
that.
always about the terms, and it's stupid to say that this was our plan to get subscribers. I'm sorry, like I get a little bit pissed off with this because that means that you didn't pay any attention at all to Mug Club Forever. That was us getting in touch with our subscribers and making sure that whatever home we went to on our own with somebody else, we were going to have access to the.
Well, that's pretty much it. I'd be curious to see what y'all's thoughts are. If you have any, drop them in the comment box and let me know what you think and who you side with.